You are listening to the Backline podcast.
I'm Trey,
This is Tristan.
and you're listening to the Backline podcast. All right, everybody, thanks for tuning in to episode 17. Today we're going to talk about riffs, but before we do, we got some catching up to do. You know, it's 2025 already.
Happy New Year, man.
Happy New Year. You know, I make resolutions, but I'm not the kind of person to sit there and tell the whole world.
Yeah.
But did you make any? You don't have to talk about what they are or whatever, but
I didn't do a resolution, but I had some like long-awaited goals that I plan on completing this year.
yeah.
Like silly shit. Like I don't like my resolution isn't like go to the gym more. It's
Yeah.
like
Dude,
do
I
this
hate
one
that
thing.
shit. Yeah, so me, I shouldn't say I do resolutions because my entire life throughout the day, throughout every week, I try to improve. So it's like,
You're always making lists anyways.
yeah, I'm making lists anyway. It's like another day, another year doesn't mean shit.
No,
you know?
it's just
So
a particular day for a particular list.
no resolutions here.
Not really. Just goals that, you know, at the turn of the year you're like, I didn't do that and I meant to do that last year.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do it this year, you know.
Time comes and goes, but man, it's crazy. I mean, it's 2025 already.
Yeah.
I mean, if you
it's-
look back on when we were in high school.
Yeah,
and
right.
Holy shit.
Yeah. I graduated in fucking 2017.
Yeah.
What's weird for me is I'm always older than the year for like 7 months. No, 8 months. Because my birthday's in the third year.
Yeah.
So it's weird that like I know how old I'll be in each, and that seems like inconsequential, but it's
That's a birthday, dude.
that's
What the
crazy,
hell?
man. But no, it's like it's crazy to think about. Like, you know, I probably won't see the 2100s. That's
No.
like that's extremely dark off the bat.
Yeah. Holy shit.
Not meaning to bring you down right away, but it's a funny thing I run into where it's just like, oh man, it is 2025, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy, you know. Yeah, it just I mean, in July of this year, we've been doing Mile 134 for a decade,
Yeah, man.
10 years. So
That's
yeah,
crazy.
it is crazy, you know. And I think every band that starts has big aspirations, and you think you're gonna
You
be
gotta.
yeah, dude, you have to, because that's what's gonna keep you going. Because as long as we've been in it, you get beat the fuck down by everything in the regarding music, everything.
There's nothing that says, yeah, this will be a profitable investment.
Yeah, and there's nothing. You know, I get a kick out of. I was watching an interview. I can't remember who it was, but they're like, if I knew how hard guitar was. I mean, he's a shredder now, but he's
Yeah,
like, if
yeah.
I knew how hard it was, I would never have started.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
I-
also, but I feel like it's different between different people. But like, I feel like him saying that, he's not giving himself enough credit for
No.
his stubbornness to continue to do
for
it.
sure, dude.
It's
And
like-
I've said the same thing about the band too. It's like, I mean,
Yeah.
we've come a long way from what we were. Like I said, when we started the band, it was, hey, let's hopefully play at the local joint, you know,
Yeah.
a couple times.
Play
And
some
now
music.
we've been able to have our own music out there and all sorts of other shit. And it's cool to look on and kind of close that chapter a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's it'll be 10 years in July of
Yeah.
Mile 134. And it's almost going to be 2 years of this podcast already
Yeah,
and almost 20 episodes. Not too bad.
not bad.
Substack is our most viewed spot platform for the podcast, and YouTube, it's terrible. I mean, people don't want to listen to podcasts on YouTube.
Not really.
Whatever.
I think maybe YouTube Music would have a platform for that. But
Yeah, I mean, I could, if we really wanted to, we could put it on Spotify and all this other stuff. But it's
Yeah.
like, this is so easy just to have Substack as the host site and let it does distribute. But
I don't know this. Do you know if like when we put our music on YouTube as like a music video or as music, does it go to YouTube Music? Because YouTube Music is like a separate space.
I don't know. I just put it on our YouTube channel.
Okay, I'll have to check it out later.
I would think it would.
I think it would. I think that's why those like
Because if you
generated.
you do the topics
Yeah.
of music or audio or whatever.
I think it's just the way it's categorized.
YouTube should be fucking smart enough.
Yeah, I mean, I find some of my long play videos in there, like a streamer. We'll do like an 8-hour stream, and I'll
Oh.
just find those in there. So I'm sure our shit's in there. Anyways,
So yeah, no. Happy New Year.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas.
yeah,
Happy Thanksgiving.
something like that.
Something like that. So the year started out rough for us. Tristan and I were both severely sick.
Yeah,
Yeah, it sucked, right? Christmas into New Year's, it was a pretty shit week. So we're both kind of coming out of it.
yeah. Happy New Year. Eat some fucking
Happy New
Tylenol.
Yeah. And the only real announcement we have, well, I shouldn't say that. Mile 134, we have wrapped up 5 new songs totally. They're onto the mixing and mastering phase by the
Yeah.
maestro Tristan over here.
Yeah,
But they're fully recorded. A couple of them were a battle because it's something different, you know. We wanted to make it a point to bring singing, like actual singing, back in some of our songs. So that's going to be pretty prevalent in these 5 songs. Don't worry, there's some gutturals still. There's still some heavier stuff, but
yeah.
yeah, we're holding out. We really are, because we haven't had a full album since Sinner, and Sinner was our expensive lesson. And
Yeah.
it's cool to be able to be doing this at our house, at our own studio, at our own pace. So right
Yeah.
now, 5 songs complete. We really want to get upwards of 10 before we release anything. So it could be a couple years. You know, we've been known to release songs every single year. And actually 2024 we didn't. 2025, I don't think we're gonna. I mean, it really depends. We've got so many songs that are in the works.
Yeah.
And yeah, so anyways, where I'm going with this is I've started a solo project, and I did book my first show here in February.
Hell yeah.
It's one that Mile 134 usually plays, but because we're taking an indefinite hiatus on the live show spectrum, I'm just going to do it acoustically. It'll be some covers. I've got some originals, so check
Hell
me
yeah.
out on Instagram. Tristan will be there running sound, helping me out. So.
Hell yeah.
Right on. Now we will get into the the show link will be in the podcast episode on Substack. I'll make sure to drop the show link in there. I don't have a Facebook page or a Bands in Town, but I have an Instagram. But the venue will have an event up, so I'll drop that link in Substack. Now, what we're talking about today, episode 17, the riffs of
Riffs.
Mile 134. Now, you might think I'm a dick because we're talking about riffs, and that's a guitar term, and I'm the guitarist. But I'll tell you what, Mile 134's riffs are anything but just my idea. I'll tell you that. Tristan's been instrumental in forming and shaping the riffs, and you will hear that on our upcoming album. Whenever that, I'm going to say upcoming because I don't know when it's going to be out, but there's one specifically on there. I was playing the riff and I'm like, this is fucking lame. And Tristan's like, no, keep playing that. And all I did was play it and I hated it. And all of a sudden he added his flavor and drums to it and it turned into a monster.
Yeah.
So riffs are a drummer's term as well.
Yeah, man. I mean, riff is a subjective term. It's anything that
I feel like riff is groove.
it's just it's like, I mean, if you're in like chamber music, all a riff is melody. Like riffing is just the word melody just for people who are punks. So, but yeah, when we're writing, gosh, I think between the two of us, we have just so much, like, I'll say riffs, like we'll use the term riffs. We'll say it's like a guitar, like run of some sort, right? It's just something that's written in a way that just designed to be used in a song, right? That's what we mean by riffs. It's just like a guitar pattern, like something that is written. Yeah,
I mean,
lick.
that's another
It's just
term,
another
but-
term, right? But I think between the two of us, because I play a little guitar and
Yeah.
you play guitar, and you probably have more than me at this point, but we just have just lines and lines of just fucking files of
God.
the riffs that we've recorded. Like the ones that we use in our songs, I think are maybe 10% of the ones that we've
For
actually
sure.
used.
There are so many riffs in, let's just say, our riff bank.
Our vault.
Our archive, yeah.
They're hidden in a locked vault.
That just we can't form into a song. Or honestly, we don't put effort into going into more because we've got other stuff in the works. But yeah, we've got, I'm a big user of the PreSonus software, our DAW Studio One. So I've got just a pile of them in Studio One. We've got a pile of them in Ableton. We've got a pile of, phone videos that we take when we're jamming. And I've even got some on voice memos. So yeah, riff is just something that to me sounds good, and maybe we can use it either in my 134, Tristan's solo project, my solo project, whatever.
Yeah. Well, what's funny when you're writing a riff is sometimes you're just noodling on a guitar. You're just screwing around, and you don't always write something you can use, right? It's just something. You've just written something that sounds neat. It's like a little intricate. It's got some attitude to it,
some zest.
Yeah, and it's like maybe it's not it's not even applied. Well, goodness, I'll mention one, not by name or anything, but we've got a song recently that has it has a little riff in there that you had on the back burner for a long time, and it wasn't going to be applied to anything ever at any point in time because it's just like a little ditty. Well, we figured out a place to put it.
I think I know the one you're talking
about.
You
do. It's just one of those things where it's like this thing, like this riff, it sounds like something you would find in like an old Tamagotchi, right? That's exactly what it sounds like. And it's just like, okay, like what are we going to do with this? Nothing, right?
We found the most brutal song to open it up with, and it just worked awesome.
It's great in that application. So like in that realm, like everybody, if you're a guitar player, you probably have the same thing going on. I mean, between like I said, me and you, we've got so many fucking riffs. I mean, I have drum riffs too.
Well, that's the thing.
But they're different, right?
Yeah.
That's more of like a foundational thing versus a melody. But sorry, I've been talking a lot. I'll let you take it.
No, I'm just thinking out loud. But the thing that I've noticed that doesn't go well with me, like if I'm writing riffs, if I'm forcing it, or if I'm sitting down and I'm telling myself, I need to write riffs.
I need to write right now.
That doesn't work.
No.
I think it was Soundgarden's lead guitar player, Kim, and I'm not going to butcher his last name, but it's Kim T. We'll call him Kim T. But I remember when I used to subscribe to Guitar World and would get their magazines, there was a big article in Soundgarden, and he straight up said, he goes, I'm not the kind of guy that can sit down and write music for hours and hours. He goes, you get an hour out of me max, and then I'm done. Yeah. He goes, I will not sit down there. And that's fucking Soundgarden saying this, right?
I mean, that's the truth, because you burn yourself out of ideas.
Or you get in a bad rut where somebody goes, were you trying to be like so-and-so? I mean, that sounds like that.
That's because, you're shaped by what you listen to. Exactly. So if you listen to a band a bunch, you'll end up kind of mimicking their, the strum pattern, their picking pattern, and something. But that's the thing is, creatively, you can sound like you can have a little bit of a sound like somebody else. You just can't rip the idea off, No. So it's like musician to musician, you shouldn't throw those ideas away. You should sit on them and say, like, this is a part that is like a tribute to like what that sound is, and be like, that's just, label the riff. This sounds like Metallica, but it's got some flavor. Export,
Save.
Like save, right? That's it. I'll go with you there, where it's like when I'm sitting down and I'm like, I want to write some music. I often will not be able to do anything creatively on a guitar. Like I'll if I'm sitting down to write a riff, it'll just come out as me doing arpeggio exercises. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I have to be preoccupied with something else with the guitar in my hands and like feeling it out, and then just like hitting something and being like, oh, that was pretty good. I gotta fire up Ableton and record that right now. Or get out a phone. Because, like, I think that's what the best ideas are. You can't sit down and objectively, like, put on a BPM. No. Some people can. I will say some people can. I'll warm up that way, but I can't sit down with the intention to write a riff and write anything good. It always sounds forced, like you said.
Yeah, like, the best way I write riffs is honestly fucking around. Whether that's, you and I at band practice just fucking around and something happens. Like the one riff we were talking about earlier that I was going to trash, and then you're like, no, it's...
Yeah, try it again.
So that was one of them. But then, like, I'll come down and just be like, okay, I need to play guitar for at least 20 minutes just to get keep my chops, whatever. And then something happens. Yeah. And that's when I send you videos through Facebook Messenger where I'm like, holy shit, here. So that's how I write. Yeah, if I come down with the intention of, got to write a riff, it'll sound like fucking Slipknot or
Yeah.
you know,
It sounds too objective.
Yeah. It sounds too forced. So
Yeah.
I can't write like that. And most of my riffs are typical 4/4,
Yeah.
and you just repeat them.
Yeah.
It's like fucking. I mean,
I think the birth of a riff can't be intentional. I think the development of a
yeah,
riff can be.
absolutely, or the development of a song, right? Because
Yeah.
like we'll come up with a riff, and then it's like, okay, now what do we do from
Right.
there? Then the wheels start spinning. But
Yeah.
I think you're right. I don't think you can sit there and go. At least we can't.
No.
I don't think you can sit there and go, I'm gonna write a riff.
I want to write a riff.
And then, yeah, for us, it's like,
No.
oh shit, that could be a riff, but where do we go from there? And then kind of that second hand thinking turns what we played into a riff.
Yeah. Right.
So
It turns it into something else. It's really fun when you have and I'm going to call you out because you said you write your riffs in 4/4. Trey, you write your riffs in Trey out of 4. Because what'll happen is it doesn't happen as much anymore, but you'll like be like, I have this riff I'm working on, and we'll sit down and drum to it, and I'm not sure we're gonna drum.
remember what dissociate used to be? It was like some crazy
Some fucking nuts
7/8
It's like,
fucking.
dude, where's the downbeat at?
But then we simplified that.
And that's what happens.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's what the process is you write a riff and it's like this loose written in crayon idea, you know, and then it gets refined into pen and pencil, you know,
Yeah.
and then you color in the lines, you know, and stuff like that. That's just how it goes. Like for drumming even. Like I'll sit downstairs and I'll go and I'll drum. And a lot of my drumming is for a workout or to like work on technique. Cause like drumming, as long as you know what your like fundamentals are, you can kind of improvise and make your shit. That's how I drum, right? A lot of my drumming is like free form.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
even if I know a song, it's going to be different every time I play it. So when I'm going downstairs to drum, I'll like have these little beats that I'll do and I'll be like that. I should use it at some point in time. I'll speed it
Right.
up or I'll slow it down and that helps me write. So like when I'm like, if I'm in a mood where I'm like, I'm going to do music today, I'll start by doing something other than guitar, whether it's bass or drums, because guitar is kind of the heart of how our music is. And starting with something else really helps me a lot. So you were saying like you start by like, I forget what you said. Fuck. I'm gonna call back a 0 moment.
Well, I'm not a drummer, so I have to just pick up a guitar. But
No, that's fair. But I mean, like, just starting with something out of your norm.
yeah.
Is like a fun thing to do.
Yeah.
Sorry, I know we've been stuck on this topic for a little bit, but it's a big one.
No, it's you know, it's all on how we write, and
Yeah.
usually our writing starts from a riff. I mean,
Yeah.
or an idea or whatever. But we're a very riff-driven band.
Yeah. Well,
And again, that's not saying I'm doing all the music
It's-
writing. It's saying literally, Tristan and I will be getting ready to practice for a set, and all of a sudden I'm tuned up, and all of a sudden, you know, waiting for Tristan, and then I just chug something,
yeah,
and
try
it's like,
something out.
ooh,
That sounds okay.
this
Yeah.
sounded, you know, you kind of catches
Well-
your attention, and then we go from there. We're just riff driven. I mean, being
Yeah.
a 2-piece, our
You
big
have to
thing
be.
is oomph
Yeah.
and the chug or the riff, whatever.
So like there's a certain kind of riff we can and can't do, right?
for
when it comes
sure.
to being a 2-piece. But in addition to that, you're saying riff driven. I feel like that also, and I'm not trying to blow smoke here, but like when it comes to it, like that kind of reduces your genre limitations too, because what happens with me and you is we'll have a riff and we're like, that sounds good. It's not as heavy as our other stuff.
No.
But it rocks. I mean, I think you mentioned earlier about how some of our songs incorporate more singing. I think that goes along with some of the riffage too.
Yeah,
where
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like we're trying some different riffs that are maybe not, you know, they're not the hour. They're
right,
not.
right. So that brings a good point.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm usually the riff's got to be good, or I ain't writing the song. But
Yeah.
to be honest, some of the newer ones we've written, the riffs are not the highlight. They're kind of just accompanying the song.
Yeah, it's
You
kind
know
of
what I
it's
mean?
more of a
They're
foundational
not a
thing.
standout riff.
No.
It's like
It's not
shit
like
that I would normally throw away turned into a beautiful song or whatever.
yeah, it's not like Frown, which is very like you hear that riff.
Yeah,
the whole
yeah.
fucking
Or
song.
fucking Dead to Me or
Yeah,
Leash. Or
right.
like our
Which
our
that-
past shit.
You know, a lot of that is like, I mean, that's a lot of what the groove is.
Yeah.
To be fair, and I think that with some of these newer songs, there's a little less of a like punching groove.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
that's just the way the riff was
the
born.
song just flows
Yeah,
a little different.
It just flows a little different. But I think that's the way the riff is born. And I think when it comes to bands trying new riffs or writing songs, you can't throw those riffs out. because those riffs
Right, 'cause I
are
used to
there
do
for
that.
a reason.
Yeah.
Like you don't throw those out because they sound different than what you're currently
Right.
doing. You put them on the back burner and you say, I might come around to that later.
Yeah.
You know, that's something you should do as a band person. You know, you should be recording the stuff you do and you should chew on it later. You shouldn't just record it, because I think me and you fell into this habit where you would record a riff and you just put it somewhere just so you have it, and you don't go back and review them.
Yeah.
You got to go back and review
I'm
those
still
riffs.
bad at that.
Yeah, I am too. I'll record stuff and I'll name it just like arbitrary bullshit, and then I'll like go on later and I'll be like, I should review some riffs, and I'll click on one named ABCDGF:KL25, and I'll click that and I'll be like, that riff fucking rocks. Where did
Yeah.
that go? You know,
That's the thing is,
don't lose them.
don't just record them and leave them and be like, I got it.
Nope.
You got to go back and listen. And you know, that goes back to what our uncle, when he was in a band, you know, they used to write riffs and they wouldn't force it. They'd be like, hold on to that one. And
Yeah.
then later on, it would fit in another groove they're doing. And they're like, oh shit, there you go.
You slot it in and you tune it up, tune it down. Fuck yeah.
Like I said, we're a very riff-driven band, a very groove-driven band. And this is how we write. It's just kind of a...
And a lot of the changes are spontaneous too. Like you'll have a riff and we'll jam it.
Yeah.
And then you'll just play something afterwards, and we got to record that now, you know, and that becomes the song.
Yeah.
You know, that's just the way that's the way it should work. I think that improv and improvisation alongside some guidance is like the way to make a song.
I mean, you look back, like back in Sinner, I was writing riffs and whole songs by myself.
yeah,
and
with
you
no
can-
regards to drums.
No regards. And you can tell because they were very choppy. It was very, I mean, they were fine, but it was very different.
They're formatted very strictly.
Yeah, it was a very like 8-minute Metallica format of a song. Like you
Yeah.
got the intro, the verse, the chorus, the transition, like all
Yeah.
this stuff. But now it's like just keep it simple, keep it grooving, and you do the music and the song more justice at the end.
Yeah,
Because
you
it's boom, 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 done.
Yeah.
So, anyways, we're gonna keep this one somewhat short. But that's how we write riffs here at Mile 134, and riffs are more than just the guitar player's term.
For sure.
So, the paid subs for the Substack, you're going to get a how-to play a Mile 134 song. You're going to get a tutorial from me on how to play one of our fan favorite, I was going to say Metallica, our fan favorite Mile 134 songs. So check your email here in a little bit. I'm Trey.
This is Tristan.
Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Backline podcast.